the discussion from last week, talking about visibility. Because obviously, if you're the best kept secret, you're not going to do much business, right? And so it's about owning your voice, stepping into your power, helping people move. And obviously, you've heard Mamie talk about helping leaders move from invisible to iconic and being aligned as well with what you're doing. And so, what we thought we would do is just open it up. I know last time there was some excellent insights and ahas that were shared. Sally, in particular, we went a little deeper, and Steve, you had shared a little bit of what you're doing with some of the ecosystem, if you will, in your projects there. But would love to hear sort of your thought process and what have you done in the past week related to visibility on the heels of our conversation last week. For those of you who were here, Riven as well. Oliver, welcome. Jeannie, nice to see you. So Sally, come on out.
I just want to say one thing. Every time I pick up my dog poop, I think of Steve. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say, Steve, but you put the image is in my mind, right? So you are quite visible in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a very saleable product. I'm sure you're going to be remembered by a lot of people. So that's all I had to say. I don't have anything else.
Okay. No, that's great. And I ran across somebody else, Steve, too. I think I'll have to look and see if I noted down their name, but that I think is doing some similar stuff to you. That just ironically that I've been connected with a while. I'm like, oh, that's why that sounded familiar. But I don't know if they're doing, anyways, you never know who's picking up poop or recycling and doing other things. But there's other people out there doing it. It's a big issue. Bigger than we realize, I guess, or think about. So anyone else thinking about Steve when they think about poop? No. Anyways, Riven, come on out.
The hand was for that as well. And I was like, yeah, we may think of Steve. Yeah, God bless him. Um, for visibility, this week I was on Mac's podcast, and that turned out really great.
Yeah.
Got a lot of my information out, kind of explaining what I do, how my thought process is when it comes to finding your passion and all. And yeah, it turned out really good. So that was mine.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I heard good things about it. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be there. Look,
That's a really good start there, Ribbon. How many of you have booked an appointment with Mac to get on his podcast, as well as his veterans mastermind? Okay. If you haven't done it already, I want you to connect with Mac because he is booking speakers. It's another way to get visible. And, take what you have and think about it. How do you apply it to veterans, to first responders? And how can you take what you are, your source of passion, and then apply it to a whole different scheme of business? And that is the way you get visibility beyond what you're thinking. How many of us have the blinders on? Yes. How many of us have blinders on and we don't realize that what we have can be offered to veterans? All we need to take a look at is how do we get out of that box and then apply it to that scheme of business. I'm going to pick on Oliver. Oliver, you might be a really good one to go on Max because he's providing a masterclass for alternatives for veterans to get involved with. Okay. And this is where I think for you, because you're in the Springs, we might want to take a look at how do you piggyback on Mac to get to Mount Carmel, which serves all the veterans here in the Springs, and then go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay. And
what does Oliver do? Can I ask what Oliver does? What do you do?
I'm a health, wellness, fitness consultant that specializes in like disease care recovery, as well as injury recovery, which is most of the population nowadays. So it covers a good gamut of folks.
Yeah,
There's
and
Mac.
we haven't, let's see, Jeannie and DeJuan, why don't you come on out and just give a little blurb on what you stand for, what you're doing, and how you're getting visibility.
Sure. My name is DeJuan Petty, and I run the Southern Colorado Real Estate Investor Association. I also have a business called Simple Success Partners, where I help businesses grow. And that might fit into the category of out-of-the-box thinking about how to get in front of another audience. Through Facebook groups that I admin under the Business Connect brand. I have about 44 Facebook groups called Business Connect in various cities across the country. I have a combined audience of about 540,000 people, and I teach people how to effectively post in Facebook groups. Most admins want content, good content, and no drama. So I teach people how to, go into Facebook groups and post and make yourself an expert in other people's groups.
So how many of you could use another 540,000 eyeballs? So write down her name. That's DeJuan Petty, guys. And I can say this. I have known DeJuan for just a few months, and she's made a difference in who I get to be visible for. Okay. So I've already coordinated quite a bit of trainings for her, and she is the instrument behind our Colorado Springs Connect and Collaborate having a venue to go to. And it's state-of-the-art technology. Okay,
Dawn, can you put your contact information in the chat?
Sure.
awesome. Jeannie, come on out.
Didn't know you were going to call me out today, Mamie.
Well, I always call
Hiya.
you out, girlfriend.
I should know better. My name is Jeannie Zerhofer, and I lead women coaches in breaking down barriers and guiding them through success strategies so they can build their business from the bottom up the right way and attract their ideal client.
Love it. Love it. And this is what Achieve is all about, learning about who our community members are so that we truly can start to do business with each other. Okay. And welcome, Frank. You know, I actually did a plug for you on having everyone take a look at how can they actually take a look at what they do amazing and then apply it to veterans and first responders and so forth. Okay. And Darlene, I got you on next, okay? Because I know last time you weren't able to talk, but go ahead. Go ahead, Mac.
I am Mac. I'm the alpha leader for Achieve Systems. I founded the Veterans Law Enforcement First Responders chapter. And what we're trying to do is to identify, as I refer to them, people that wear the jacket and have served our communities, and now they're transitioning into their own enterprise. And we want to provide all the services that all of y'all have and make them available to those folks.
Awesome. So that's your challenge for next week, guys. How do you take your zone of genius and get visible with some of the other people on this call? How do you do that? Thanks, Mac. Darlene, come on out.
Okay, hey, can you hear me okay?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So I am a functional medicine practitioner, and I run relevant labs based on the person's medical history, based on what some of their symptoms have been, lingering or new, maybe a new diagnosis, or just really trying to prevent disease patterns. And so I use any test, whether it's blood that's comprehensive more than the regular doctors, or stool, which I love to see, genetic testing to figure and refine, hormone testing. A lot of us have some hormone imbalances, so we think. And then when I put it all together, I just focus on the priorities, and then I use all the data to create personalized programs for people and include a lot of the very useful and powerful lifestyle changes. So is there another question that you asked us to share? I mean, anything else that we should be saying?
Well, I know that we talked with you last week about how you can separate your specialty in your functional labs and really branch out and do something that's truly yours without overlapping on compliance with yours. So
Yeah.
take that time, book it with Doc Eric and I. We can figure out how you can actually separate it and yet still move forward.
Yeah, I was thinking about that all week last week. So thank you. I definitely will. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I know that Jordan's been with us before. Doc, you want to add anything else there before we ask for more input on visibility?
No, I think, it's understanding obviously what you do, the why you do it is important. And we've talked before, Mimi has shared, what do you stand for, obviously, understanding that and telling people, leading with that in terms of the visibility. And I do think, and I know from what I understand, Riven, like with what you shared with on Mac's thing yesterday, that, sometimes there's pain in our lives and that mess can be the message that other people need to hear. And so oftentimes, I think it's just about understanding your voice and amplifying your impact by being on purpose and being aligned with your truth and sharing that. So I invite you to think about that. And if you've ever felt like you maybe had more to say or give, but you were holding back, and maybe, you felt like you feared of what are people going to think or judge, or maybe imposter syndrome, maybe just even overwhelm. But, the goal today is for you to reclaim your voice, step into your power, and amplify that in a way that you can be aligned. Because what your experience has been, and I know, DeJuan, you've got a really powerful background and experiences as well that, can help others in their lives be the best version of themselves. So I want to share that. And I think when you think about what you stand for, encourage you to stand or own maybe those things that maybe you haven't been comfortable sharing with others or being vocal about. So I just thought of that as I was listening to some of what each of you were sharing, because you have your own story and your why behind what you do. And if you were truly visible in your power, what would you do? And I think it's really making sure that, the message is, and maybe it's the story that you once had, is now the message that you need to lead with. So I just wanted to seed that and share that with you.
The other thing too is that when you come up with the story that you want to actually share with everyone, I want you to start taking a look at what variations of that story can be applied to the different arenas that you want to focus on. Okay, how can you apply it? I'm going to use Riven as an example. Riven told us what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a survivalist. And the amazing thing is when you get Doc and I, we just kind of go off on all kinds of tangents that can really get you visible and get your, what I call your juices rolling, because sometimes we are so blinded. Yeah, we're only thinking of it in one way. And so this is where I'm going to challenge you. You know what you do well. Okay. Now let's take a look at, I'm going to look at Jordan. Jordan has a community that wants to help community members. Your gift what could you do to help Jordan and make it a win-win-win for yourself? What do you do that you probably could offer to Jordan's community? What would that look like? Anybody?
First thing I would do is gather the information on what Jordan does, what he's capable of, what his needs are for everybody else. That's my first step. And then I can incorporate my skills, not only with the survival, but of course, the finding your passion and your path and help people find what they need from you through their passion. That's kind of where I would go with that. But yeah.
So it's a really good example because guess what? Jordan is one of the people that I didn't ask to come out and tell what he's doing. Some of you have been on other calls. So Jordan, in a very short time, let's go ahead, explain to the community what you do. And as he's explaining, think about how you could contribute and make that win-win-win.
Thanks, Mamie. Yeah, so we're building an app called Sukai. It's a neighborhood app that turns neighbors helping neighbors into small donations and redirects those small donations to local nonprofits, ultimately decreasing depression rates and increasing dopamine and serotonin levels. As we call it here at Sukai, redefining social capital. And yeah, that's it. We got that elevator pitch nailed down last time we were on the call, maybe. Hopefully it's coming around.
Awesome. Okay, Jordan, take a look.
Whoop.
We lose Mamie. Okay.
Mamie looks like you froze.
She looks so good frozen.
Power stance.
That is a good power stance.
Yeah, she's got the knife hand and everything. I like
Right?
it.
So
We have to tell her we were laughing at her.
yeah, no, it's all good. Let me just check something real quick to see if sometimes she'll text me if her power went out or something crazy. But at any rate, so and some of you were on the call when Jordan talked about his his gift to the world in Sukai. And so was that clearer than the first time you heard him express for those of you that were on that call?
I was on that call. Yeah, a lot more clear. Mhm.
Yeah, so I just want to compliment you, Jordan, because way more
Yeah.
concise and powerful in terms of that statement and message about what you're doing. And you know that type of a system. So I think it's really making sure that each of you in that 30 seconds, whether it's what you stand for, what you're building, what you're creating, you know, can share that. And I don't know where Mamie was going with what she was going to ask you, but we'll see when she comes back. But other thoughts on visibility and the types of things that you can be doing so that you're proactively being seen, heard, and felt by others. Yeah, Mac.
I have to give a shout out to Riven and his presentation yesterday on the mastermind. One of the things that I recognized is that he was very vulnerable in his presentation, but was not weak.
Mm.
So often we see people and they want to talk about where their life was and what's happened, but they want to be a victim. Riven was not being a victim. He was being very strong in his presentation. I think, you know, for all of us, we're in a group that we're trying to help each other. We shouldn't be afraid, but we should also not be needy.
Yeah, that's a really good distinction. So what is it about people that you've seen, whether it was Riven, you know, yesterday or others that are vulnerable yet powerful? How do you marry the two in a way to bring your authenticity to be in alignment with what you're doing in your message? Yeah, Riven, of course, please come out. It's you did a masterful job of doing that.
Well, first off, thank you, Mac. I appreciate you and for having me on there. My philosophy with that, of course, just me personally, and this goes for everybody. we have our emotions are strong, but we shouldn't let them run us. And that's where the whole victim mentality comes from. And in that moment, I know exactly what he's talking about. I felt those emotions coming up, and in my mind, I didn't say it online, but I was thinking the little me is trying to squash the big me. And that was that moment where I was like, no, it's time to be strong for them, because they need to see that even though I'm emotional right now, I have to hold true for what I'm teaching. And that was that moment. So I appreciate you saying that, and that brings a lot of value. Thank you, Mac. Appreciate it.
I think it's tough for men to take
Yes.
that position. And I was really impressed by it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I invite you to reflect on how vulnerable are you willing to be? Because I think authenticity is really key when it comes to that presence and people connecting with you and understanding who you are. And we all have, our past, our pain and challenges and maybe lessons that we've been quiet about. And, you know, if that part was maybe the key or the credential that unlocks and magnetizes people to you, how can you share that with others? What does that look like on a scale of 1 to 10? Just type in the chat. How vulnerable, one being like, nah, I'm not telling people crap. I got my walls up. I'm not showing people. I wear these masks. 10 being like, this is what you see is what you get. I'm candid, blunt, in a tactful way, professional. But like I'm willing to go all in and be vulnerable so that people can really understand that I'm a human and I have flaws, imperfections, maybe past that I'm not proud of, whatever it is. 1 to 10, where do you fall on that in terms of your willingness? Because a lot of time our ego, the fear, the judgment, all those other things get in the way of us being able to really step into our greatness. And I think it is ironic, and Riven, as you were talking, thinking about that, is there can be, and I think there's immense power in vulnerability. And that's where, Mac, to your point, most males don't recognize that, right? So based on whatever number you put in the chat, what's one thing that you could do that would move that number higher? What's the block? What's getting in the way? And Riven, I don't know if your hand is still up from earlier, and then Sally, you're on deck.
No, what I wanted to add to that too, because I was just thinking about it as we're going. Those in the military would understand this as well. As a firefighter, you don't have time to be in your fear or in that moment, because somebody's life is on the line. So we really get to train that moment where it's like, yes, I'm terrified. I'm gonna cry. I'm freaking out, but I don't have time for this in the moment. So you go, you do the job, and afterwards you can let go if you need to. That, I think, is what gave me that fortitude of like, yes, feeling that emotion, but now's not the moment. Get the job done. Afterwards, go in the corner if you need to. So yeah.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you for doing that. Sally.
Every course in marketing I've ever taken tells you to tell your story. And if your story includes something painful without being a victim, that's where I feel like you connect with people. I mean, they're going to say to you, oh my God, I had the same thing happen. Or they're going to say, oh, my friend had the same thing happen. I think that's an important component of being visible, marketing, talking about what you do. Do you agree? I mean, are we in agreement? Everything I've ever read is all about that. But you're asking, how do you get the number higher?
Yeah. What is it? What would it take? And why didn't you, let me ask this question. Why didn't you choose a lower number?
I didn't even choose. I would have gone right to 10. I have no problem telling people about my life.
Awesome.
There's a saying in the anonymous groups, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I decided years ago, no secrets. My life is an open book, and it was totally fucked up. Excuse me. Oh, Mac, I'm so sorry I used that word. It was totally effed up.
My ears, my ears.
I know, Mac. I'm so sorry. I have to apologize to you. But anyway, yeah, that I feel like it's really important to be not only vulnerable, but authentic, I think, is the buzzword these days for the last 10
Mhm.
years or so. Authentic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think with vulnerability, the other thing you want to keep in mind is that vulnerability is good, but not where it goes on and on.
Right.
And
We're
on.
talking not victim. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So alert to anyone that wants to tell their story ad litem, not victim.
Yeah. Because I went to a speaker's training and they only had 30 minutes, but it was 20 minutes on their victim.
Oh,
And
Mm.
people didn't understand, I don't want to be in the victim.
right.
I want to know how you got out of victimization.
Right.
That's the
Well,
key.
isn't that the whole point of why you do what you do?
Mhm.
Because you were a victim and now you're not, and that's what you're doing. You're helping people with such
Yeah.
and such so they don't become victims.
That's a big one. The
I
thing
would
is,
think.
not everybody,
Yeah.
not everybody has that.
Sometimes you got to be reminded you have things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, sorry, I got dropped, guys. Back to you, Doc.
Oh, that's all right, Mamie. We only have a couple minutes left, and I think what would be really helpful as you think about that number and my question about, I guess either being more vulnerable, but let's go back to just the visibility. Vulnerability or not, what's one small but bold visibility move that you could take in the coming week? That's not made for like attention or ego, but from a place of alignment, really, from owning your greatness, from stepping into that, and being able to communicate with others your passion. Jordan, did you have, come on out.
Yeah, I think falling on the sword is a big one, right? And like cleaning things up with someone within a relationship. So like sometimes we say off the, something that's maybe a little on the edge of, I don't know, being inappropriate because it's a joke or whatever, and just going back to people and saying, "Hey, remember that thing that I said?" It could be earlier this morning or from weeks or months ago. And that one time, if you've been ruminating on it, it's like, just go clean it up. There's nothing bad that can happen out of that. It's like you either clean it up with them because it did affect the relationship and there was a
Mm-hmm.
fracture, or the only other benefit is they're like, no, that didn't, I can't believe you've been thinking about this for so long. Don't even worry about it. Right.
Yeah.
It just shows so much thoughtfulness, and it's one of my favorite things to do inside of my relationships. So,
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Jordan. Riven, come on out.
okay, I'm sorry. What was the question again? I know I had something for that, and I just kind of
Just, what's a small
sorry.
but bold visibility move that you can make this week?
Okay, so for me, it'd be just remember that it's about love. Remember why you're doing it, why you're connected to everybody else. And we do have services that are taking care of things in our lives that make things easier, but to always remember it's out of love because you care about other people's well-being and life. So that's why more speeches for me, more podcasts to get the word out, just so people know that they're okay, that they have somebody that has their back. For me, anyways.
Yeah. So for you in the next week, because you just had a podcast as an example, but is it pitching, to other people, I want to be on your podcast, I want to ask, or I want to have the mic, or I want to or you post about it? Like, what is that one move based on that space you're in?
Yes, exactly that. It's just getting out there and communicating with everybody who wants to either have me on a podcast or communicating what I'm teaching. Even in the one-on-ones, if somebody's having trouble, I just had a kid the other day at Safeway, who just kind of always talks to me and smiles, and I just gave him a hug. And it's just what he needed. He just needed somebody who was at that level where it was like, yeah, I see you too. So even little moments like that is what I mean.
That's so powerful. I mean, and the core of our being is a need to be seen and heard, felt, and to belong, right? And so anytime you can acknowledge somebody like you did is huge, for what it does for someone's self-esteem. So thank you. Sally.
Okay. Am I off? Yeah. One of the things I learned in the very first certification I got was the director said, you have your business card. Well, everybody does, QR codes today, but it's a little business card size thing that says, I I'd like to take your email address because I want to email you about future events because I haven't gotten my certification, the new certification yet. And just, it's a little business card, but they fill in their own email address and basically sign it to say I allow this person to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you send them an email. It's a very easy way to follow up. So I
Nice.
have to get my butt in gear and get that done. Because I have an
Awesome.
event coming up Friday, so
Okay, so today's Wednesday, so
I'll go
you're
to that.
gonna
I'm
have
gonna
that
go.
ready to go
I'm
for
gonna go to
Friday?
I need a paper, not a glossy card, so I'm gonna go actually get a pack from the home Office Depot.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, Mimi, anything else as we wrap up? Because it's already a quick half hour as usual.
No, I'm good. I was just seeing if I could get the ideas going about really taking a look at your community members and seeing how can you fit in to what they're doing and how can you make it a win-win-win situation. Because a lot of times it's very one-sided, everybody. We're trying to figure out how you can help me turn it around sometimes. How
Yeah,
can I help you?
right. Well, one
Got
thing
it?
I will mention too, and then sorry to interrupt, Mimi, but in terms of visibility too, if you know of anyone who serves startups, businesses that are scaling and growing. Mimi and I actually in 2 weeks, September 16th, actually 2 weeks from yesterday, 16th and 17th, have a dozen plus sessions that we're doing as part of Colorado Startup Week. And we have a few exhibitor vendor spots still available. So if you know of anyone who would want to get in front of hundreds of entrepreneurs, business owners, please connect with one of us and be glad to share that opportunity with you, more about that as well. So, yeah, Mac.
On your link on that, it puts it under an August date instead of a September date.
On the link for what's
Your startup week.
okay.
When I clicked on it, it tried doing it for the day you sent it, not the day that the event is. Just FYI.
Okay.
I just
Yeah,
did.
let's connect. I'd like to know which, because there was a lot of different links. So, depending on which, but that'd be great to know. Thank you for pointing that out. Sally, did you have one other
Yeah, I
comment?
just have one quick question. When is your Colorado Springs next Connect and Collaborate?
September 18th, right, DeJuan?
It's
And
the
then what time
third
is it?
Thursday.
It's the third Thursday of every month at 5:30.
5:30. Okay. And what's the location?
Kelly Johnson. And I will send you something on that, Sally.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Doc.
Well, thank you all. Make it an amazing week and be visible. You know, it's not about performing, it's about embodying your purpose, embracing your higher self, and, helping the world understand who you are so they can feel your passion, your purpose, and be attracted to what you're doing. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
everybody.
day. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys.
Of course.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Jeannie, okay.